righty. We are live. We are back. It is episode 6 of Talking Movies with Sean and Kenny. I'm Sean.
I'm Kenny.
That's
I'm
Kenny.
Jim.
And that's Jim. That's our
We got our special guest back.
special
Jim.
guest. Second
He's
time
Hard
around.
Rock. He's Coco. I'm Joe. How's it going, boys?
Not
Good.
bad.
How are you?
I'm doing great, as well as I can be, I guess.
That's good.
Depends
we
on how many dirty dancing jokes you two chuckleheads put in this thing tonight.
I'm not gonna do any.
Oh, I'm gonna make you cry before the end of the night, my friend.
You probably will. I was gonna be a real dick and put Kenny and then put Simply Swayze underneath of it. Well, I didn't want to do that.
We were tormenting Jim on Instagram by putting select cuts from Dirty Dancing because one of Jim's least favorite movies of all time is Dirty Dancing.
Yeah, please watch this video rant about Dirty Dancing. And then I picked up the 4K, and that's how the ball started rolling.
Yeah,
so.
I know. I saw that 4K, and my response was no or something like that.
Victor's joining in on the fun. Somebody is going to have the time of their life tonight. Thank you, Victor.
Oh, Victor.
Hey, Patrick.
Hey, Patrick.
Patrick's saying hi to himself. I'm
yeah, what's up?
Yeah. I said hello to him. He didn't say hi to me. So screw Patrick. No. We're starting off really good again, boys. I mean,
we're clicking.
The quality level of your show goes down so quickly when I'm on it. It's just.
Well, Patrick Swayze is what he meant.
Oh, okay. Very clever. Very clever.
Very good.
Yeah, I didn't catch that either. Good job, Patrick.
You shot it right over
my head.
Yep. Okay, there we go. Well, we got Jim on board tonight because we wanted to do something a little special. We're going to do our top 10 comedies of all time. Each one of us is going to do our countdown of our top 10 comedies. We'll go around the circle. I'll pick my number 10, then Kenny will do his 10, and Jim will do his 10. And then we'll just go around from there. We'll talk about it. Guys in the chat can join in, pick yours. But before we get to that, we did want to mention the passing of James Earl Jones, which I believe was on Sunday, I believe. Is that right? Sunday?
No,
was
Monday.
it Sunday? Monday. It was Monday.
Yeah, I heard about it yesterday.
Monday. Okay. Time flies when you're having fun, I guess.
Yeah.
And we just wanted to, mention his passing. And, everybody knows about him, of course, being the voice of Darth Vader and from The Lion King and whatnot. But we all just wanted to go around and mention a few things that we know him from that are not Star Wars related or Lion King related or Field of Dreams related. So, Jim, you had a few picks that you wanted to share.
Well, first of all, I just want to say that, James Earl Jones was just an icon in every which way. Like I told my grandson yesterday when I found out about it, I said, one of my favorite actors, James Earl Jones, died. And he said, I don't know who that is. And I said, yes, you do. Yep. And he goes, what do you mean? And I said, Darth Vader. And that's all I needed to say. Mm-hmm. That voice.
Yep.
One of a kind.
Yep.
So get that out of the way. But one of the things that I always loved about him was that he elevated everything he was in. It could have been a part that he was on for 5 minutes or the lead or the co-lead. But even if he was in crap, he was always great.
Yep.
And the first thought was Soul Man from 1986. Notorious movie where C. Thomas Howell, a white guy, pretends to be a black guy to get a scholarship to Harvard Law School. And James Earl Jones is his law professor. I actually like that movie. It has not aged well. It wasn't good then. Okay. But it's one of those movies that I do enjoy. And like I said, James Earl Jones put a certain amount of dignity and class in that film. The other one I wanted to mention was By Dawn's Early Light. This was a HBO film from 1990, I believe. It's a loose remake of Failsafe. And again, he's not the lead. Powers Booth is the lead, but it's a ensemble piece, and he has a very, very substantial role, very similar to the part that he played in Doctor Strangelove, which was his big screen debut. So those are the two movies I wanted to mention.
Cool. Awesome. Kenny?
I have two that I remember him in, and this used to play on our local channel, the Bingo Long Traveling All Stars of Motor Kings.
That's an oldie.
That used to be on, especially during baseball season. They used to play that every April, right before, and they would play that movie and then intercut with like Phillies baseball coming in April. You know what I mean? And the other one that is probably not, I don't know if you guys like this show or not. He had a very funny cameo part in Big Bang Theory.
Mm-hmm.
I never watched Big Bang Theory.
Oh, okay. He basically Sheldon, who's like the hyper nerd.
I know the characters. And stuff.
Okay, went to dinner with him, and he went and basically, dine and dash with a house, and it was Carrie Fisher's house, and she came out with a baseball bat, and she goes, "James, I know it was you," So that when I heard about his passing, I got like really sad because it's Darth Vader. I mean, that's my childhood,
Right.
That, and this is CNN.
Yep.
And it just but I'll remember him eating in the Big Bang Theory, him eating the big banana split in the middle and going like that with that voice and stuff like that. So this happened like about 5 years ago on Big Bang Theory, or 8 years ago, but it's just something I'll remember from him.
Yeah. I'm actually saving mine for our picks at the end of the show, not to create any suspense or anything, but I've got my recommended movie for this week is actually featuring James Earl Jones, so I will save that for the end of the show.
Awesome.
So we'll leave it for that. But yeah, I just wanted to make sure that we properly recognized him because, like Jim said, he definitely elevated everything he was in. And Soul Man, I never saw. I can only imagine. But I did see recently the clips from Big Bang Theory, and Sheldon approached him at the table, and he couldn't talk to him. And he's like, "Let me guess, your favorite movie is Star Wars." And he's all intimidated. And he's like, "Come here." And Sheldon goes up to him. He's like, "I like Star Wars too. Sit down." And he joins him. And he's like, instantly and goes from intimidating to adorable in like 2 seconds. That was pretty cute.
My favorite James Earl Jones story that I ever heard is he was giving an interview, and he didn't take credit for Darth Vader on the credits until Jedi came out. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
Because he didn't want to take focus away from David Prowse, who played him in the costume. So people were kind of like conjecturing over who the voice of Darth Vader was for years. And he says that in the late 70s, before Empire came out, he was driving cross country and had a CB radio and was talking to people using the Darth Vader voice and totally blowing people's minds.
Wow, that's awesome.
The idea of James Earl Jones driving a car with a CB radio going, "I am your father." I mean, that is so good. I just love that story.
That's awesome.
That's really cool.
All right. Well, checking in on the peanut gallery, we do have Mr. Dan. He's here.
Hello, Dan.
Mr. Dan. Eastwood for life.
There's Carlos.
There's Carlos.
Watching from the UK. It's midnight over there. And Mr. Dan said that he was great in The Ambulance, which I have not seen.
Yeah, I haven't seen that either.
Yeah, me neither.
When's that from, Mr. Dan? Let us know.
That's the one with Eric Roberts, I think he's talking about, not the recent one.
Yeah, not Ambulance. I don't know. Look it up. Nobody puts Luke in the corner.
I didn't say it.
And it begins.
I am timing out of this right now. I have a confession to make, and I told Jim via chat over the weekend. I have never seen Dirty Dancing, so I don't feel comfortable making jokes about Dirty Dancing to somebody who hates it because I've never seen it. So I'm
yeah. But you did say that your wife wants you to watch it with her.
She has seen it millions of times, so I did buy it with the intention of watching it with her. But
and like I said, that's totally acceptable because, like I said, the things we do for love, you know.
Right.
So
yeah, she dragged me to see Britney Spears, so I went. I'll tell you a story real quick about that. We were in Las Vegas on vacation. First time there. There were 2 shows playing in Vegas, and if you know anything about me, you know I like heavy metal. Black Sabbath was on their last tour with Ozzy that night in Vegas, and we had the choice of seeing them or Britney Spears.
And you went with Britney.
Well, I didn't.
No, you went with Britney.
I didn't make that choice.
She made the choice for you.
Yes, exactly.
So
yes.
You went to Britney.
Yeah. So I got to watch. Yeah, exactly, Patrick. I did because, you know.
You're a better man than me.
Yeah, exactly. I don't tend to bring that up often, but it still hurts a little bit.
Did she sing Toxic?
Well, she performed it. Let's put it that way.
She lip synced Toxic.
She lip synced everything. So. Oh yeah. Yeah, we didn't mention Coming to America, but yeah, that's obviously one of the best James Earl Jones performances.
Go sow your royal oats.
They had you know how Oasis just got back together again for a tour, and they had, you know, they're coming out with all these memes and stuff, and they said the tour we really wanted, and it had Chocolate Thunder, had Eddie Murphy doing that, doing the character for Coming to America.
I would rather see Chocolate Thunder than Oasis.
I'd rather him sing
chocolate.
The greatest, sexual chocolate. That's it. Yes. Yeah. The greatest love of all. Come on, baby.
Little girl looks so good, I want to sop her up with a biscuit.
Oh man.
Was there a guy wearing a bad Spider-Man wannabe cosplay messing around in a diner when Toxic came on that night in Vegas? What?
When you went to Vegas and seen Britney, you know how they have like all the superheroes out there?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, out on the street. Yeah, there was a bunch of that, but no, not that I saw. Oh, Madam Web joke. Oh, well.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's why I didn't get it, because I still haven't watched that piece.
Yeah, I haven't watched Madam Web. Kenny?
It's art.
Art is subjective.
I love Dakota Johnson. I think she's hot as hell. Okay, but that movie with the product placement was just bad. It was like Leonard Part 6. You know, It was like, have a Pepsi. You know, it was like, you know, they're fighting on the Pepsi sign, and then she's like, she just happens to have a Pepsi handy before she goes out and, you know, and beats these people up. You know, that was bad. That was bad. You're right, Victor. It was shit.
The best product placement I've ever seen is in the American reshoot of Godzilla 1984, the sort of reshoot of the Return of Godzilla, the Japanese like comeback of Godzilla that the Japanese released in Japan as the Return of Godzilla, and then they came to America as Godzilla 1984. And they shot Raymond Burr, you know, they intercut him into the scenes, and there's him standing in like the war room, and in the back there's a Dr. Pepper machine, like perfectly framed
Wow.
behind him through every scene. It's just right there.
And Victor's right. She never opens the Pepsi can either. She just picks it up. You know.
Well,
that movie's going to be like on Mystery Science Theater, like like the new version, because it's so bad. It's
in the
really
future.
bad.
I'll never watch it.
Jim, if you do, it's going to be like Mystery Science Theater. Have your own Mystery Science Theater in there, you know, with it, because it's really bad. I'm not kidding.
Yeah, no, I've heard it's really bad. So.
I only we got it for what, $6, Sean? So
$6, yeah.
Yeah. So
that's $6 you'll never get back.
Yeah, but you know what? You can have fun with your friends watching it and just saying, it's sort of like Cool as Ice. You know, Cool as Ice is one of the absolutely worst movies, but it makes you laugh every time you watch it.
Yeah.
You know?
First time I watched that was at a midnight showing with a crowd full of people. That was the best experience of my life. Best movie experience of my life.
When I went to opening weekend, there was 4 people in the theater. Me, my brother, my buddy Brian, and the guy that swept up the theater. He looked at me and he goes, "Dude, how bad is it?" And I said, "Bad." And my buddy Brian, "This fucking movie blows, dude." You know? So he watched about 15 minutes of it and he goes, "I don't know how you guys paid for that." And I'm like, that's true, Victor. That's so right. That is so right. You could tell she wasn't high maintenance, dude. She went to a construction site.
Wow.
That is that is so true too.
Lose the zero and get with the hero.
Yep, yeah. Words to live by.
I can honestly say I've never watched Cool of Ice either. So.
Oh, Jim,
you should do a double feature with Madam Web.
Oh God,
dude, you gotta watch that. Order a pizza, get a Pepsi, and just sit and watch that. You'll just oh God.
Victor says he's only 24 and he's seen it.
Oh, okay.
The movie's older than he is.
Yeah, you're not kidding. Yeah, speaking of our comedy movies, there's a comedy that should be my top 10.
I was gonna say, did it squeak in anybody's top 10 unintentionally?
No,
or intentionally?
Man,
that's so funny.
But yeah, I'm interested to see what your guys' lists are. That's for sure.
All right.
Yes, let's get into it. So we're gonna do our top 10s. So who wants to kick off? There'll be the kickoff person. Do you want it to be me, Kenny? Do you want to start? Jim, you want to start?
I'll start, and then we'll go like me, Jim, you. Then we'll go Jim, me. We'll just rearrange it. Do you want to do honorable mentions first, or do you want to do just a 10?
Yeah, I didn't get a chance to ask Jim if he had any honorable mentions. So,
I've got one extra movie that I was going to do at the end because I know sometimes you guys normally say, "What's your?"
Oh yeah. Okay.
So I'll save my honorable mention for that.
Okay. My number 10 is a Christopher Guest movie called Best in Show.
Good movie.
Absolutely hysterical movie. I still think Fred Willard should have got an Oscar nomination for that role. It's just so. If you guys don't know about it, it's a movie where they go to Philadelphia at a dog show, sort of like the Westminster Dog Show, and basically you have every whacked out character in your. You have a gay couple, you have the preppy couple, and then you have the country couple with Christopher Guest and his hound dog, and then my favorite couple is Eugene Levy with 2 left feet, and Catherine O'Hara with everybody in the world. So that's my. I still laugh hysterically, and I know the jokes that are coming, but I still laugh at that one.
Yep.
So Best in Show is my top 10.
That's a great movie.
Yep.
I love Fred Willard in that movie as the announcer.
How do you get a dog to do that?
He is just, and those movies. What's so great about them is that most of them are just improv. And
Yeah.
It's just it's yeah. I've got a movie similar to that on my list.
Okay, great.
Okay, so am I up?
Yeah.
Okay. Now I did a top 20 comedy on my video, or on a video on my channel recently.
Okay.
Okay. But I only included the movies that I had in my collection on Blu-ray.
Okay.
And on this list, I am including a couple of DVDs, but I am not including any movies that I don't actually have a physical copy of. So there are some great comedies that I would possibly put on this list at one point. I just don't own them right now. Okay? So
Sure.
my list is subject to change, boys. Deal with it. So at number
They
10,
all are.
I am going with one of my favorite movies from the Zucker Boys and Jim Abrahams, and I am not talking about Airplane. I am not talking about The Naked Gun. I am talking about Ruthless People.
Oh, that's a great one.
With Danny DeVito, Judge Reinhold, Bette Midler, and Bill Pullman in his big screen debut.
Wow.
This movie is absolutely hysterically funny, and the only reason why I have it on DVD is because it's a Touchstone film, so therefore it's not available on Blu-ray.
Oh, yeah.
The moment that it is, I will buy it. This is one of the few movies from the 80s that I've seen 100 times, and I would still watch it another 100. It doesn't go in the same category as like Ghostbusters, like what we were talking about the last time I was on here.
Right.
Love Ghostbusters. I'm sick of Ghostbusters.
Right.
I'll never be sick of Ruthless People.
Right.
So that's number 10.
That's
awesome. Awesome. Mine sounds very predictable compared to yours, but at my number 10, and it's low. It's the lowest on mine because the criteria for mine, and that's one thing I wanted to do, is kind of explain the criteria for how we picked ours. So we could do it now since we're right at the bottom. These are just movies that either I've watched a billion times or kind of reflect my sense of humor or have influenced of my sense of humor. So I watched them when I was young and they kind of, just influenced who I was when I was growing up. This is one I've probably watched the least, but has probably influenced me enough to get into my top 10 of all time, but it would be Young Frankenstein from 1974. I've always been a fan of the classic horror movies, but this obviously puts the comedic spin on it and makes it hilarious. And of course, Gene Wilder, and Peter Boyle as the monster, Cloris Leachman, Terry Garr, everybody. And of course,
Madeline
my brain has
Kahn.
gone blank. What's that?
Madeline Kahn.
Yeah, Madeline Kahn and the guy with the eyes.
Marty Feldman.
Marty Feldman, yeah.
Igor.
Yeah, exactly. He picks the Abby Normal.
Abby someone. Abby,
yeah. Yeah, just absolutely. I went to the drive-in to see that with my parents and I was hooked and always watch it when it's on TV, but I have not seen it anywhere near as many times as the other movies on my list, but it definitely wanted to mention it on the list because it's definitely one of my favorites. So that's my number 10.
Great choice.
All right, my number 9 is one that I'm not kidding you. In 1984, I watched every day for 3 months coming home from high school, every day, and that's Bachelor Party with Tom Hanks.
Oh, there you go.
I absolutely love that movie. I actually can say, go word by word, and you should be happy with that one, Sean, because when he's in the tennis court and goes, Cleveland wins the pennant,
and the crowd goes wild.
My favorite part of that is where he goes, I hope you like potato salad, chunky style, my favorite. And there's just a basket of 5 potatoes in it, And I still do this when I'm cooking. It's like, and what's the spice of the night? It's paprika. Ha! You made me the happiest spice in the world, So I used to do that because when I was in culinary school at the time, was watching that and I was doing that. And my chef would come and go, Kenneth, do we have a problem this morning? And I'm just like, no. And he goes, he's reciting this stupid movie. you know, and it was just like so. Yeah, so Bachelor Party. I can't tell you how many times I've watched that. I've watched it so many times. I actually wore out the VHS tape when I
Wow.
Yeah, that's how many times. And I have it on DVD. I had it on Laserdisc, and I have it on Blu-ray. So that's my number
awesome.
9.
Are you Mr. Nicholas, or should I just call you Mr. Dick?
Nick, yeah. Foot
Is
long,
that the foot long, and then some.
This here is Chippendale's star attraction.
I could quote that friggin' movie. I love that movie.
It's great, isn't it, Jim?
I love it. Okay, my number 9. My second favorite Steve Martin film. The only reason why the first favorite is not here is because I don't currently own it. But that would be Planes, Trains, and Automobiles, which I absolutely love. However, my second favorite Steve Martin film is All of Me.
Yes.
That's a good one.
From 1984 with Lily Tomlin. This movie, Steve Martin does physical comedy in this movie that is unparalleled. I don't know if you're familiar with it, but he is possessed. Half of his body, the right side of his body, is possessed by Lily Tomlin.
Mm-hmm.
And she has control over one half of his body. And there's a scene where he's trying to take a piss. It is one of the funniest things I've ever seen in my life. You want to talk about quotable? You want to talk about quotable? How about, first of all, release your grip.
That's a very good one.
All of Me is number 9.
That's excellent. I have forgotten about that movie, but I remember watching that and I was crying when I was watching it.
It is so funny.
Oh,
and another one that is not available on Blu-ray.
Yeah, that's a shame. Yeah. I'm gonna have to search that one out get a DVD copy of that. I'm writing all these down.
Actually,
I'm writing them down as well.
I'll hook you both up with that because I was at the Goodwill store today. They had 2 more copies of that DVD at that Goodwill store for $2 a piece.
Nice.
I will go over there and see if I can still find them, and if I do, I'll send them to you.
Okay.
Thank you. Yeah, I'll Venmo you the money.
Oh, I ain't worried about $2, Kenny.
Right.
But yeah, it's a great movie. Shall I tap?
Shall I tap?
Tap, tap.
And the other one from that is put Edwina back in bold. Put
Edwina
back in the bowl.
Back in the bowl.
Great movie.
All right. My number 9 is probably the newest movie. Well, it's definitely the newest movie on my list. And it's probably going to be controversial. It's Forgetting Sarah Marshall.
I love Forgetting Sarah Marshall.
Yeah, I love this movie.
Don't know where that came from, but okay.
It's pretty magical, Jim. What'd you do?
It's my dirty dancing. Get away from me, pixie dust towards you. I don't know. That was pretty wild.
That was awesome. This is one that the first time I watched it, I loved it. And now it's just anytime it's on cable, my wife and I will sit and watch it. I've watched it just by choice when it's on Max. I just constantly put it on. I am not somebody, you guys are very good at quoting movies. I am not somebody who quotes movies very often. Just because I just never been able to do that. But there are certain scenes in this movie that just it's funny, but it's also emotional as well.
Mm-hmm.
Mainly, I think it's the music scenes with what's his name? God, my memory is shot tonight.
Jason Segel.
Jason Segel, yeah. And like when he comes back about should I see a psychiatrist? He's doing that song, and then the Dracula musical. All that stuff is hilarious, but all the relationship stuff between him and Sarah Marshall, just hilarious. And the goofy people he meets at the resort in Hawaii. Paul Rudd's character,
I love Paul Rudd in that movie.
There are just so many situations in this.
No, pop up.
You're doing too much.
Do nothing. Nope.
Do nothing. just so many situations in that movie. It just makes me laugh every single time I watch it. And like you said, Kenny, you know the jokes are coming, you still laugh anyway. So that's my number 9.
It's a great movie. It really is. Russell Brand, when he's given the sex tips to the Mormon couple. Oh my God, with the chest pieces. Oh my God. The first time I saw that, I literally almost shit myself. I was laughing so hard.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Right. My number 8 is a Rodney Dangerfield movie that really goes unloved. Easy Money.
I love it.
Oh, yeah.
I love Easy Money. I think that movie is so funny. You know, I like when they're going around and he goes, Joe Pesci goes, I'm fucking starving. So they go, let's go and eat. And they go, every place is like open 23 hours. You know, it's just like little touches like that, you know, and it's like the other one is when they're having like I grew up in Philly, okay? So I'm Philly now, but I grew up in a row home. So when they're having the wedding in a row home and you see like 150 people in this little backyard and every other backyard is empty, I lose it. I just watched it. It was on Tubi. It's on Tubi. And I watched it again and you completely forget how funny that movie is, you know? And that I love Rodney. So that's my number 8 pick.
You know what your problem is? You're too weak. See this? This doesn't control me. Hey, you got a light?
Yeah, from that diner. That is great.
The thing I'll always love about Easy Money, that was the first movie that played at the theater when I got hired as an usher in 1983. Wow. The first Friday movie that we had was Easy Money. So I will always love that movie. It'll always have a very big nostalgic value for me. But yeah, great movie, Kenny.
Yeah, Victor, that has Jennifer Jason Leigh in it. That's when she just came off of Fast Times.
Yeah, she's real young in that. Taylor Negron is also in that movie, who played the pizza guy in Fast Times, and he's her Puerto Rican boyfriend, her fiance in Easy Money. Same guy.
When they go to the hotel and stuff, and he's putting it in to get the bouncing bed, and it doesn't work. And then she leaves, and all of a sudden she slams the door, and the damn thing starts to vibrate. That is just so funny.
That's
okay. Okay, my number 8. We're on 8, right? Yeah.
Yep.
My number 8 is I mentioned this the last time I was on your show, the first R-rated film I ever saw, National Lampoon's Animal House.
Oh,
nice.
Yeah.
Again, hasn't aged well. I don't care. I've seen that movie more times than any other film. I can recite it backwards. And John Belushi, even though he's only in the movie for literally 20 minutes.
Yep.
It doesn't matter. It instantly made him a movie star. And originally I was going to have Blues Brothers on this list, but I decided at the end of the day, that's more of a musical to me, even though it is still hilarious. So I'm going with Animal House.
Yep.
3 Fugitives, Throw Mama from the Train, Dirty Rotten Scoundrels. And every one of those, with the exception of Throw Mama from the Train, with the exception of Dirty Rotten Scoundrels, is not available on Blu-ray. Every one of those is a Touchstone film.
Oh, wow.
That's probably why they're underrated, especially Stakeout. I love Stakeout.
Yeah, Stakeout's great. All right. My number 8 is Kevin Smith's Clerks from 1994. Yep. Just love the dialogue in it, the interplay between the characters, just ridiculous dialogue, but some of the best dialogue that I've heard in a movie ever.
In a row?
37?
Sorry.
Beautiful, man.
Try not to suck any dicks on your way out to the parking lot.
Come back here. Sorry.
No, that's fine. Yeah, that movie that's the first movie I think that had dialogue that felt like it could have been written by somebody from my generation that I saw that really connected with me. Yeah, the good old snowball effect.
Oh God.
I'll just leave it at that. But yeah,
That guy in the bathroom.
not even supposed to be here today.
She'll get over fucking a dead guy. My mom's been fucking a dead guy for years. I call him Dad.
Yeah. So Clerks is my number 8.
All right. Number 7 for me is Beverly Hills Cop.
Nice.
I can't tell you how many times I've watched that, and that really set Eddie Murphy's career like into like megastar star.
Stratosphere.
Yeah,
Yep.
I mean, that movie is so funny. I mean, just the scenes that he has. I mean, he has 2 scenes with I had a friend in high school that his father was his captain in Detroit. So when you would go over to Rodney's house, he goes, "What the motherfucking are you gonna do today?" You know, and I'm like, "Hi, Mr. Smith," you know, like that. And he's like, "Oh, I'm sorry, son, I didn't see you standing there." And I'm like looking at Rodney. I said, "Dude, does he talk to you like that?" He goes, "Every day." And every time I see him, I think of Rodney. So it was like, you know, he's no longer with us anymore, but that was his dad. So
awesome.
Yeah, so I just love that movie.
Yeah, Beverly Hills Cop. We had it at my movie theater for about 3.5 months.
Wow.
So I've seen that movie theatrically at least 100 times, at least, and I do own it. But it's one of those movies, and again, I love it.
Yeah.
But it's one of those movies that I'm not in a big hurry to watch again, because again, I've seen it so many times. It's just, I would rather, even though I prefer Beverly Hills Cop to any of the sequels, I would almost rather watch Beverly Hills Cop 2 just because I've seen it fewer times.
Yeah, it's true.
If that makes any sense. But yeah, I do love Beverly Hills Cop. It's a great movie, Kenny.
Yeah. I like it too. I have not seen it in forever though, and I don't own it, believe it or not. I don't own it or any of the sequels.
Wow.
I got the 3-pack
Yeah.
Blu-ray, cheap bare bones Blu-ray, but whatever. But yeah, Beverly Hills Cop it's a great movie. Okay, my number 7.
Mm-hmm.
Clerks. Absolutely, Clerks. Best comedy of the 90s, without a doubt.
Yeah.
And I'm a huge Kevin Smith fan, or at least his early works.
Mm-hmm.
His last, decade or so has been hit and miss. But his first 5 or 6 movies, to me, all of them.
Yep.
Dogma is probably my favorite Kevin Smith movie, but Clerks and Clerks 2, without a doubt, are his 2 funniest movies. I mean, they're just, and like you said, Clerks, I worked in a shitty video store like Randall did. So he was my hero. As much as that guy was an asshole, I wanted to be Randall. I wanted just once to talk to the customers the way that he talked, because I had
exactly
stupid questions like that, or people renting the dumbest movies ever, So yeah, Clerks, without a doubt, great movie.
Do you have that movie with that guy?
Yeah.
I love when he does all the adult videos in front of the kid. The mom and the kid, take it up the ass part 3. And then he goes, there are so many unanswered questions from part 2.
Then finally he's just like, what was that again? Happy Scrappy Hero Pup?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So funny.
Yep. That was great. That was great. All right. My number 7 is The Jerk from 1979 with Steve Martin. Just that movie I went to see with my dad at the theater, and that was when Steve Martin was riding high on his wave of stand-up comedian. He was riding on Saturday Night Live and everything, and I didn't really know too much about him as an actor or what he was capable of or whatever, but just the bizarre situations he was in that movie, and just the goofy sense of humor and everything. It just got me. And like, like when the sniper was shooting at him at the gas station, he must really hate these cans. And I was born a poor black child.
Yep.
Just
you mean
all
I'm
that
gonna
stuff.
stay this color?
Just so hilarious. And
Love
I remember going to, and I probably saw it at an age where it probably wasn't appropriate for me to see, but the book fair. Do you remember book fairs? Did they have book fairs when you were in school? Yeah. They had it wasn't a novelization, but it was like a picture book from The Jerk, which is
Are you kidding me? Oh my God.
And I bought it, and in the back they had the credits, and in the back, Iron Balls McGinty.
Nice. That's awesome.
That's great.
I wonder who the buyer was for the Scholastic Book Fair that year, because they probably weren't the next year.
That's awesome.
But yeah, The Jerk is my number 7.
Wow.
Good pick. Good pick.
All right. My number 6 is one. This is one of the first ones that we rented on VHS, and I actually this was my first rated R movie going to see, and it's Revenge of the Nerds.
Revenge of the Nerds.
Oh, nice.
Great movie.
Yeah, I remember going to see it. It was me, my brother, and my mom. And my mom just said she just seen Revenge of the Nerds. She didn't know. And when that scene, I drink to that. Let's go back to. I'm tired of the Betty show. Let's see something else. So it was like when she seen that, it was like she had her 14-year-old and 12-year-old, and it's going like that, and it's like, Mom, we've already seen it before. It's like, yeah.
We have Bush.
We have Bush.
Talking about movies that haven't aged well.
Oh yeah, and like especially because me and my brother will still quote that. We'll sit when he lives in North Carolina, unfortunately. But whenever we're like together or something, we'll just come up with like stupid quotes, and we'll always do. And he actually, for my birthday, he sang the song, the Revenge of the Nerds song at the end.
Mm-hmm.
We're lambda, 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 and omega mu. Like
clap
that.
Your hands, everybody.
Yeah, everybody.
Everybody, clap your hands.
Yep. So, and my other favorite part is when they're having the party, and they put. Lewis goes over and puts on something. He goes, "Let's see something that you will like." And it's like, swing low.
No, Old Man River.
Oh yeah, that's it. And then when the other black guy's going, and he's smoking during the Michael Jackson Thriller thing, and he's smoking the pot, and he goes, "This is some good shit." So that's my number 7.
Was that 7 or 6?
We're 6. Sorry,
6. I'm sorry.
Okay.
I bit the numbers. We're on 6.
Number 6.
Okay, I thought maybe I lost count here.
No, number 6.
Okay. Yeah, no. Love Revenge of the Nerds. Had the poster on my wall.
Oh wow, that's
because I was working at the theater at the time. Saw that one theatrical many times. Great movie. Okay, my next one, number 6, from Robert Zemeckis, and it ain't Back to the Future. It's Used Cars.
Oh wow!
Oh, that's a great one.
1980. Kurt Russell, Jack Warden, and the incredible Garrett Graham, who does one of the most insane physical stunts I have ever seen in a movie, where he's walking backwards as a car is coming from the distance, and it misses him by about 6 inches. And to this day, I don't know how the hell they did that without him dying. I mean, it's an incredible visual gag. But yeah, Used Cars, classic film. I love it. That's number 6.
I definitely need to rewatch that one because I have not seen that since I saw it on HBO, like probably 2 years after it came out. So I'm way overdue on that one.
Yeah.
That's a circle one there. My number 6 is Dr. Strangelove, or How I Learned to Stop Worrying and Love the Bomb. I know it's an old one, but That one is that's just a showcase for Peter Sellers, who I love as a comedian. One of my favorite movies of all time is Being There with Peter Sellers, but that's hard to recommend as a comedy because it's so subtle and so just I've always told people that that's a movie that makes people go to sleep when I recommend it to them, you know. But this is just, if you want to see the genius of Peter Sellers, it's definitely on display in full force in Doctor Strangelove. Plus, just the dialogue is insane, you know, with George C. Scott and no fighting in the war room and all that kind of stuff. And just the satirical aspect of the whole black comedy stuff about nuclear war and how ridiculous it all is. And it's just so many elements about it that make it funny. But even though it's a dark kind of funny, I don't know. I just think it's fantastic. So it's definitely not something that fits with many of the other picks on my list, but it's definitely up there.
It's my favorite Kubrick film.
Really?
Yep. It is. Did not get it when I was a kid.
Yeah.
It just went right over my head.
Yep.
And then I watched it when I was like in my mid-20s and thought it was funny, but I still didn't quite grasp it. And then I watched it about a decade ago. And yeah, I own the Criterion Blu-ray. And yeah, I love that movie.
Yeah, I had the same exact kind of awakening. I watched it when I was young and I was like, it's okay. It's funny, but you know, and then I watched it like 5 or 6 years ago and I was like, this is a masterpiece.
Yeah, it is.
And yeah.
And James Earl Jones.
Yep. I totally forgot about that. Yeah.
He was the last survivor of in the cast of that movie too. If you think
yeah.
Hi, Ash. my daughter-in-law just got here to pick up my grandson.
Oh, cool. All right. Number 5 for me is Back to School with Rodney Dangerfield. Absolutely love that movie.
Sam Kinison is great.
Yeah.
I just think it's really hysterical. You know, just the where the Burt Young holds up the Springsteen. I don't know, kid. I'm confused to pick him up. You know, just a little, and that was the first time I ever seen Robert Downey Jr. in a movie too. Was
really
Back to School? Yeah, I think that was one of his first movies, right?
Well, Weird Science came out before that.
Yeah.
Oh, did it? Oh, yeah, that was 85. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm lying. So it was like, yeah.
Bye, buddy. I love you. See you, Ash. And my grandson's leaving.
Oh, okay.
Okay. I'm up.
Yep.
Okay, number 5. From 1977, George Roy Hill's classic Slapshot.
Oh, wow.
Oh, that's a great one.
This is my Shout Factory Steelbook.
Nice.
Which I absolutely love. And this is another one of those movies that my brother Greg introduced me to when I was a kid. And I just thought the Hanson brothers were the funniest damn people I had ever seen in a movie before, and I still kind of do. But the MVP of that movie is Strother Martin. You don't know who Strother Martin is. He's the guy who famously in Cool Hand Luke said, "What we have here is a failure to communicate." He's got that voice,
Yep.
He plays the GM of the hockey team, and he is hysterically funny in that movie. So, yeah, number 5 is Slapshot.
That is the first pick that we've talked about that I have not seen.
Are you kidding me?
I've never seen Slapshot. So
it is not.
We watched that.
It is not politically correct. It is raunchy. It is. There's some jokes in that movie that definitely would not fly now.
Oh yeah.
There's some homophobic humor in it. And all kinds of stuff. But my God, is it funny? I mean, if you're not easily offended and you like sports comedies, Slapshot's the best.
Just the beginning where he's interviewing the Armenian goalie, talking about what it is, and he's grabbing the hockey stick. He goes, you'll go in the penalty box, and you 2 minutes, and you go in there and feel sorry.
You feel shame.
Yeah, you feel shame. That's it. You feel shame.
Excuse me, guys. One moment. I'm sorry.
Okay.
Sure.
Yeah, that's a great pick. I actually forgot about that one. That would have made my list.
Yeah, that's one of those movies that I keep putting off watching. It keeps going on my watch list, and I keep forgetting to watch it, or I don't get around to watching it. And I've never owned a copy of it. I've never like made time to watch it. So I'm circling the ones that are like my high priority ones on the list. So,
I'm telling you, Sean, that's a definite one that you got to put like very high priority.
yeah,
I think your humor is basically the same as mine.
Yeah,
and you'll laugh. And Paul Newman is so good in that.
Yeah, I love Paul Newman.
And there's like so many, like you will catch it because you will catch like that's okay. No, we were just Jim. We were just talking about. I told him you got to make that high priority to get that one to watch. Slapshot,
it's so good
because there's so many things. The bounty. And then it was like when they're foiling their hands. Eddie sure hockey, right, Coach? Right, Coach.
Okay, I'll give up one joke just to give you an idea of the humor of this movie. Okay. The Hanson brothers. There's these three goons. Okay. Paul Newman picks them up from the bus station, takes them to their hotel, starts talking to them, looks in the room, and they're sitting there playing with like
cars.
Those little toy cars. Okay, that you would have electric racetrack. Yeah. So he immediately goes back to the stadium to Strother Martin. He's like, "You cheap bastard. Those guys they brought their fucking toys." And he's like, "Well, I'd rather have them playing with their toys than playing with themselves. They're too fucking stupid to play with themselves. Those guys are fucking retards."
That's exactly right.
But it is so funny. And I mean, yeah, I'm telling you, if you're not easily offended, Slapshot is a great film. It really is.
Yep. All right. I will definitely put it up on top of the list. Let me check Viewfinder, not a sponsor, and see if it's streaming anywhere.
Yeah, I know Shout Factory still has the Steelbook. I don't know if they have a regular version, but that Steelbook was actually reasonably cheap. I got it for like under $20.
Did you really?
Yeah.
I know Hamilton Book, not a sponsor, was also had that like about a year ago. But I had the DVD copy, and I was waiting for a 4K of it to come out.
Oh, it's on Netflix, which I don't have. But it's, I can rent it or something. I'll probably find it on DVDs cheap.
Yeah, if you go to Salvation Army, that's always one that you can look for on DVD.
Yeah,
because I only have the DVD copy of it too.
Yeah, unless you accidentally see the one with one of the Baldwin boys on the cover, that is not Slapshot.
Yeah, that's far from Slapshot.
That's one of the shitty sequels. So.
Yeah, no, I'm definitely looking for Paul Newman. So.
Exactly.
All right, my number 5 is National Lampoon's Animal House, which we've already visited on this list. That was probably one of, not the first, but one of the first rated R movies I ever saw on courtesy of HBO. Sitting, and I've told this story many times, where I would sit in front of the TV set, like face to the TV set with my hand on the dial, waiting for somebody came in the room. I would just turn it, since that was the days before remote control. But yeah, John Belushi, like you said, he's only in it for 20 minutes, but he made his mark. When he stuffs his face full of marshmallows or whatever,
cottage cheese.
It was a cottage cheese. Yeah.
Yep, I'm a zit. Get it?
Yeah, I'm a zit. Get it? And then when they're sneaking into the dean's office, and he's doing all that sneaking around, moving around stuff.
That was all improvised too.
Yeah. Just amazing stuff that I would just do when I was a little kid, sneaking around at night. Just hilarious. And then of course all the political stuff that went way over my head when I was a kid, but then learned to appreciate when I was older. So yeah, that's definitely my number 5.
All right, my number 4 is, and if you look very closely at the tail end on the was filmed in Philadelphia, you will see my mom. Trading Places. Yeah. Trading Places is number 4. Yeah.
Trading Places?
At the end of it, she worked at 16th and J. I know this doesn't mean anything to you guys because 16th and JFK, but they took it at 14th and JFK. Mm-hmm. The scene at the end, and she's getting off of the bus.
Oh yeah,
that was my mom.
Her claim to fame,
like,
huh?
So she's in that and Mannequin.
No shit.
Yeah, because
stick to Trading Places.
Yeah, the one. Well, you can see her a little bit closer. You can see her leg, and because the only reason why we know that this is because they were filming at the time, and in Mannequin, the '87, she was getting on the bus as they were filming it. So she was like, we microscopic and stuff and tried to blow it up, sort of like they did on these and my mom's going, that's my bus, I'm like, all right, Mom, that's all right, so so those two and Trading Places is like a tour de force performance for I can't. And Jamie Lee Curtis, the scene in the hotel.
Yeah, we all know what you're talking about.
When you're 13, boobs.
I was 15 and same reaction.
Okay, so it was just like
I forgot how old I was, and I didn't really care.
Okay. I remember seeing that it came on HBO, and it was just like, okay, So I never forget that's like what and you can watch it and pick it up anytime that it comes on cable or flip it on, and you'll sit and watch it.
Yep.
So that is number 4 for me.
That's my favorite Eddie Murphy movie.
Is it?
Yep. And if I owned it, it would be on this list for sure.
Oh, okay.
Because me and my wife to this day, we still crack wise about that movie where I'll be like, yeah, I'm Inga from Sweden.
Yeah.
You're wearing lederhosen. Yeah, for sure, Sweden.
Yeah, me and my brother still do the. I'll tweet him up, and I'm going, looking good, Billy Ray, and he goes, feeling good, Lewis. So we'll still do that, and his wife just goes, I don't understand.
No, great pick, Kenny.
Yeah.
Okay, my number 4 is Spinal Tap.
Oh, that's a good one.
From Rob Reiner and Christopher Guest and Harry Shearer and Michael McKean. Yeah, that was the first mockumentary I ever saw, for sure. I mean, I knew there was a couple of others before that, but I love the genre. I still think Spinal Tap is the best in that genre. Maybe it's because I'm a music guy, like you said, Sean, I'm a metalhead too.
Yep.
And what's so great about that movie, I don't know if you guys remember, but when it came out, people were confused. They thought it was a real band.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And they thought it was a real documentary, even though Michael McKean was on Laverne and Shirley.
Yep.
As Lenny, Lenny and Squiggy. And so many bands have gone on record since saying that they have had Spinal Tap moments on the road that mimic exactly what happens to these guys on the road. I mean, the movie's brilliant. I just think it's absolutely brilliant. And the music's good, too.
Oh, yeah.
So number 4, Spinal Tap.
That's a good
awesome
pick.
All right, my number 4 is Office Space from '99.
Oh.
I remember I actually saw this movie by accident. We went to see Rushmore. My girlfriend at the time, we went to see Rushmore, and the film was broken, so we saw Office Space completely unaware of what it was, even that it was even at the theater. And just went in, and I just totally fell in love with it. I had no expectations whatsoever going in, and loved it to death. It's still more or less relevant today to people who work in an office. I literally was in a office meeting on Monday where somebody showed a movie clip, unironically, from Office Space at my work. So it's still relevant. Almost to its detriment, I guess. But yeah, there's so many things about this movie. I could spend a whole hour talking about Office Space and how it connects to my current job. Kenny always gets messages about how I have to lead meetings and all these things that I have to do at work because I work in an office. Even though I work from home, I work in the office environment and deal with that corporate mentality every day. So yeah, it just resonates very, very loudly in my life. So that's my number 4 pick.
That would be great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I often wondered how much they got of Gervais got of Office Space from Office Space. The Office.
I don't think much of anything, because The Office was a sitcom over in England.
Yeah.
For years before, and I think it even came out before Office Space.
Oh, did it? Okay, I thought
or
that
around the
early
same time. Around the
okay.
same time. But Office Space, I remember seeing that theatrically, and there was maybe 3 other people.
Yeah,
in the theater.
Nobody.
And I was working in an office at the time, and I was howling with laughter the entire time, because I related to 98% of that movie. Yep. And the other 3 people in the audience were looking at me like, what is so funny about this movie,
Yeah.
And now 20 odd years later, it's a classic,
Yeah.
So, yeah, great movie.
Yeah, I just recently seen it this year. I never seen it before.
Really?
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I enjoyed it. Like, I didn't get the stapler thing. I didn't get that, and it was like, I only know him from News Radio, where he played Jimmy James on News Radio.
Stephen Root's been in a million things.
Oh yeah.
I mean, Dodgeball.
Dodgeball. I know the actor, but it was just like I've never seen Office Space before, and I was like, oh, okay. But I just seen Stephen Root in. He was in. What the hell was it? I just watched. News. Jim. I'm binging a show on Max called The Newsroom with Jeff Daniels.
I love that show.
Oh, okay. And he played the general.
Yeah.
In there. So it was just like I literally just seen him yesterday on an episode of The Newsroom. So yeah, he's a very good character actor. I hate when they say character actor. I think he's just a hell of an actor.
I love character actors.
Yeah.
Character actors to me are the best, because they are exactly that. They can play any character. A leading man, for the most part, is just that, a leading man. A good-looking person with charisma. But a character actor is a chameleon who could do anything. And to me, those are the best actors.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Jim, have you seen the animated shorts where Office Space sort of originated from?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, they ran those on MTV, I think, back in the day.
Yeah, I think Saturday Night Live, I think it was.
Yeah, I do remember seeing them back in the day. But
so that's where that character with the stapler came from. They kind of included him. So it was about this guy that they kept sort of taking advantage of in the office, and he was attached to his stapler, but he wouldn't defend anything but his stapler.
Yeah, I mean, I saw that movie kind of by mistake, because again, I went and saw it because I knew Mike Judge was behind it, and I was not a big Beavis and Butthead fan, but I was interested to see what kind of humor this guy had that wasn't animated. So that was mainly the reason why I went and saw it, and I love that movie. Idiocracy too. I think Idiocracy is also just a brilliant movie.
Yeah. Idiocracy isn't quite as focused as Office Space.
No, it's not.
It's more of a shotgun approach. You just sort of threw everything at the wall and you see what sticks. But it resonates a lot differently now, because
Office Space builds as it goes. Okay.
Yeah.
Idiocracy to me shot its load in the very first scene.
Yep.
Where they show how people got stupid generally over time. That sequence is one of the funniest goddamn things I've ever seen in my life.
Absolutely.
And I remember when the Tea Party and all the bar fringes on both sides of politics are going, memes nonstop of like, hey, we're living in idiocracy right now. And it's like, you know what? You're absolutely right.
Yep. It's becoming a documentary as we go by day by day. But it's a lot more hit and miss, but it's still the same type of humor. And it's
deadpan, very,
I just literally saw this on a reel on Facebook about the footwear in the movie. Have you heard about this?
No.
So the movie was made in 2000,
right,
or 2001 or whatever, early 2000s, and they wanted to pick footwear that looked ridiculous but looked like they would be comfortable. And so they were looking around at different things to look at as far as what people could be wearing, and they found this company that made these really ridiculous looking shoes, and they made them because they thought it would be ridiculous. Nobody would wear these in the future because they're so stupid looking, and there were Crocs.
Really?
Yeah. So the shoes that everybody's wearing in the future that are supposedly the ridiculous shoes that nobody would wear are Crocs.
Wow.
Idiocracy.
Yep.
That's
Yep.
awesome. That's awesome.
I haven't verified that for sure, but
It sounds right.
that sounds about right. And they showed some stills from the movie, and they sure as hell look like Crocs. So
I totally believe that. I totally believe that.
yeah. All right.
All right. My number three is what we've already talked about: Planes, Trains, and Automobiles. I absolutely love that movie. I can watch it more than at Thanksgiving. You know,
Yep.
The scene tears me apart with when Steve Martin is just laying into John Candy, and he just goes, "I like me." You know, my wife likes me. And that scene just tears me apart. You know, and when he's sitting there at the train station with his head down, and you know he has nobody to go home to.
Yep.
Just, man, it can be the highest of highs, and that scene just kills you. It just slays. And you know, even though when he passed, he got that scene where he just goes like that, you know, and just like muffling his, you know, hat. You know, you get a little wispy just thinking about that.
Yeah,
you know?
Yeah. Great movie.
It's just a brilliant movie by two guys that were like top of their game right there.
Yeah,
it's my favorite John Hughes movie too, without a doubt. It's a wonderful movie, and it still has one of my favorite all-time one-liners ever, where he says, "You know what? We got a better chance of playing pick up sticks with our butt cheeks than getting out of here tonight." I just love that line. I don't know why. It just makes me laugh.
I like when he does when he turns and he goes, "My left nut, we're not going to be leaving out of Kansas City," or something like that. You know, that just still makes me laugh. You know, but I remember going to see that when that came out in the movies, and it just like we were laughing. That's another thing I do miss. I miss the reaction of the crowd, because you had to go see that again because the crowd was laughing so hard during the movie, you know, and it was just like, because when we were coming out of it, my mom goes, we have to go see that again because I missed so much because we were laughing so hard, you know, and it was like, that's just a beautiful movie. And,
it is.
And that's like, it might not be the greatest comedy of all time, but like, that's like one that I've watched so many times. So that's number three.
I would say that most of these movies aren't the greatest comedies of all time. The idea is, what are your favorite comedies, not the best, you know?
Right.
So, and so far, I've liked every pick so far. I haven't heard from one movie yet that I don't like, you know? So
yeah, same here.
Okay, my number three. We're getting down to it now.
Yeah.
1979. Monty Python's Life of Brian.
Nice.
It is my favorite Monty Python movie. As much as I love Holy Grail, I think Holy Grail might be funnier because it's goofier. But Life of Brian, to me, is a genius, hysterical comedy. And it's more relevant now than it ever was. The whole subplot about Loretta, the man that thinks he should have the right to have babies. What are you going to do? Put him in a box? Where's the fetus going to gestate? You know, I mean, it's just, I love Life of Brian. It's one of those perfect movies. And the whole biggest dickest scene, I'd be, you could put a gun to somebody's head, make them watch that scene and tell them that they can't laugh or they'll get shot. They wouldn't make it through that scene. That movie, that scene alone is so good. Yeah, Life of Brian's number three.
That's a good pick.
That's a good pick. Monty Python. I'm way more familiar with the TV series than I am their movies. I've seen Life of Brian. It's been a while. I'm way overdue to see that, and Meaning of Life, and of course Holy Grail. But I remember watching Life of Brian several times on HBO and really enjoying it. I'm not a hugely religious person, but
I'm not religious at all.
Yeah, I know it can rub people the wrong way. I remember there was a guy who lived in our apartment complex, and he came over our house, and I forget what he came over for, but he was like, "Oh, I just got back from protesting at the movie theater." And I was like, "What are you protesting at the movie theater for?" I was like 12 years old or something.
Right.
He's like, "Oh, we were protesting that horrible movie Life of Brian." And immediately I was like, "Oh, I want to see that."
Yeah.
Because it sounds awesome. You protesting.
Just like years later when the people were protesting Last Temptation of Christ, same thing when they were protesting Dogma. And every one of those people, none of them ever saw what they were protesting.
Right.
Because Life of Brian is not, they were at the time, I remember that. They were protesting because they were saying that it was a slight on Jesus, that it was and that movie is not. It has nothing to do with Jesus. It's an indictment of actually organized religion.
Right.
You know, how people are just so quick to follow as opposed to find their own path.
Right.
And I think it's brilliant. I just think it's an absolutely brilliant film.
Yeah. I'm way overdue for a rewatch of that one because I remember a lot of it, but I don't remember most of it. So my number 3 pick has already been talked about. This is Spinal Tap. Yeah.
Great
do
minds
do
think
the
alike.
thumbs up again and see if you can get the fireworks to go. Don't know how that works.
I lost my magic joke.
Magic's not working.
Mojo's gone.
Yeah, as a total metalhead, I remember introducing that movie to my friends because they had never heard of it. Because it didn't get a theatrical release in my town because my town was pretty small, and we discovered it on HBO, and we literally skip school one day to come over to my house and watch it. And I remember I think it was my junior year. I think we were supposed to be decorating for the senior prom, and we all came over to my house and we watched This is Spinal Tap, and then afterwards we went to the mall and bought the soundtrack. They're driving around listening to the soundtrack because it was so hilarious. You know, Big Bottom and Sex Farm. And I still listen to it today. It's hilarious. And I have a Spotify. I have a Spotify heavy metal playlist that I have that is like 84 hours of metal music, and I drop like Spinal Tap in. You know, every so often Spinal Tap will come on. And I wish I still had it at the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame here in Cleveland. They had a shirt that said "Hello Cleveland" on it in the font of Spinal Tap.
Oh wow!
Nice.
And it had the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame logo on the back, and I don't have it anymore. It had the umlauts on it and everything. It was awesome. But there's just so many quotable things from that. Like I said, I'm terrible at remembering quotes, but just so many things. And that's one of those movies that you can watch and rewatch because a lot of it is improvised and you hear all the different things in the background that people are saying. Or, excuse me, my dog is trying to eat one of my tablets. You'll hear something that somebody's saying in the background and you won't catch it, but then you'll catch it the next time you watch it. And, you'll just constantly be discovering little bits and pieces. And then, just the names of the songs and the names of the albums and the history of the musicians, like Smell the Glove. That's the name of one of their albums. And they're talking about the artwork and the new album. It's, it's black, but it's much more black, or it's even blacker than black or whatever, I can't remember. Like I said, I can't remember quotes very well. But,
Village Voice says that their review of your album Shark Sandwich, it's only 2 words. It's shit sandwich.
Shit sandwich.
Shit sandwich. That ain't right. That ain't real.
Yeah. So that is definitely my number 3 pick.
All right. My number 2 is The Odd Couple with
wow.
Lemon and
wow.
Walter
Matthau.
One of my favorite movies of all time. I love the whole thing. I used to drive my mom crazy. I used to go spa, 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 like all the time. like that to her, and she's like, "You're an idiot,"
Idiota.
Idiota. Yeah. Well, my friend Sally used to call me that. It was like I knew 2 words in Spanish: idiota and chimichanga, and she goes, "That's Mexican." I'm like, "Okay, then I know 1 word," So, but that and the I'm getting little notes on my pillows that says "F you." I finally found out it was Felix Unger. I love the whole thing, and it was like I only had the VHS tape, okay, and it was like full screen, okay?
Yeah.
Close. And then when I got my Laserdisc player, one of the first Laserdiscs I bought was The Odd Couple. Then you got to see the full vision of Oscar's apartment. He had a Christmas tree. He had shamrocks. It was just, and I'm like, I don't remember that. And, and it was just like, and then it's like, so it's like when you're like watching it, you're only getting like a full view. And then when you see the whole view of Oscar's apartment, it's just so great. I'm a big fan of this TV show. And I'm a absolutely huge fan of the movie. That's one that and number 1 I've watched so many times. Is The Odd Couple. I love that movie.
Great pick.
Uncomfortable confession number 2. I've never seen it.
Wow, it's classic. Classic Neil Simon.
Dude, circle that.
Yeah, it's circled.
Yeah.
Did you enjoy the sitcom?
I love the sitcom.
Yeah, me too.
That was one of the first things I bought. Was the sitcom when it first came out. I love it. The one that always kills me is the password one, where him and Oscar go and they play one password. Yeah, Alan Ludden and Betty White.
Yeah,
that's
the old password.
Yeah, the old password.
Yeah,
and I liked when they had the old football, like the old football players. Rosie Greer was on, Muhammad Ali was on, and because my dad kind of would remind you of Felix Unger. That's my dad was the same exact size as Felix Unger, and just like the facial expressions he sometimes made, my mom would go, "That's your dad," you know?
Yeah.
So it was like that. I just love that movie. It's just a great movie.
Yeah, it is. I haven't seen it in years. But it's classic. Anytime you've got Walter Matthau and Jack Lemmon together,
I actually seen that more than Grumpy Old Men. That was one of my honorable mentions.
Yeah, Grumpy Old Men's one of my favorites. I love that movie, but it's not on my list.
Okay.
So number 2 from my Mel Brooks collection, I am going with Young Frankenstein.
Nice.
It was my gateway to both Mel Brooks and horror movies because it was definitely the first Mel Brooks movie I ever saw theatrically. I was about 7 or 8 years old when I saw it. I saw it in early '75, and I had just started watching like the old black and white, not even Dracula, more like Abbott and Costello meet Frankenstein, that sort of thing. And I love that movie so much that, it made me a Mel Brooks fanatic to this day. I don't love all of his movies. I will always love Young Frankenstein. Yep. It's just a perfect comedy, in my opinion. And Marty Feldman is Igor. I think it's one of the funniest comedic performances of all time. It's just perfect. So, Young Frankenstein's number 2.
Great pick. Seen that one.
Yeah, I know.
It's on my list. Number 2 is going to seem kind of odd, based on placement, but my number 2 is actually National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation.
Wow.
No, it's right there.
Nothing wrong with that. It's a great movie.
Yeah, it's one of those movies. I watch it every year, obviously at the holidays, but I just think it's funnier. It gets funnier every year for some reason. I laugh. It's super predictable because
I think as you get older, you get more appreciation for it.
Yeah, I think that's it. It might be maybe the nostalgic component to it, but I just, me and my wife, we both love watching it. And I think the fact that, we both enjoy watching it together and we just laugh, we know what's coming. Like we've said, we know the jokes are coming. But we quote that to each other, even though I'm terrible at quotes. That one is something that we'll quote to each other. Just hilarious. Chevy Chase is somebody that as an actor and as a human being, I'm not 100% a fan of. I've heard he's a horrible person, but in this movie, it just absolutely perfection. So.
I think we know. See, I think why that's a classic for everybody. It's sort of like It's a Wonderful Life. Mm-hmm. People like those people. I mean, Uncle Eddie in your life. It might not be in your family, but you might have a friend or a friend that went to high school with, and like every one of those people, you personally, and I think that's why those vacation movies have stuck with everybody, and they're sort of like a comfort food. They're like a bag of potato chips because you know what you're going to get from them, and you know that distinct flavor.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it.
So that's a great pick, and I think especially the pick where he's sitting in the attic watching old movies. As you get older, you kind of reminisce about Christmas past and people that aren't here anymore. And I really think that's a great pick. That's
solid pick.
That's really good. Okay, and my number one, it was on everybody's list. Animal House. That's my number one. That's the one that I've seen the most. I remember when I was obsessed with John Belushi when I was a little kid, and I remember begging my mom. I was like 8, okay, and I remember my mom watching it with my aunt, my uncle, and my dad. Remember HBO had the Saturday, big movie.
Yep,
and that was like the big movie.
Mm-hmm.
And she wouldn't let me see it until 1980. I remember I seen it because I had bugged her to go see Blues Brothers. And my uncle, Sean knows I talk to my uncle every day. And he went to see Blues Brothers, and he's like, Marge, let the goddamn kid watch the movie. It's just music, like that. So we went to see, my mom took me to see Blues Brothers in 1980. And, when I finally seen Animal House, it was like, oh, boobs. But the whole thing with Belushi was that scene. I think everybody's tried to imitate that scene when you're going into like a cafeteria or something and trying to swallow the Jello, or just something like that. And it was just like, because Belushi in that movie, I was 8 when I seen it. He was like a big 8-year-old kid in that movie,
absolutely.
And it was just, like a lot of the stuff I didn't get, like when they're going into, and when Belushi goes to him, grab a beer, it's free, it doesn't cost nothing, and he's walking in, and with Flounder, can I have 10,000 marbles, please? So me and my brother still, I miss my brother being around all the time, because we used to go and we could just throw just a movie quote back to each other, and we would just like crack ourselves up laughing.
Yep.
So I like, if I'm like depressed or something like that, he'll just send me a thing with Flounder. Look at this guy. This guy's a loser. Yeah. And it was just like, and the toga party, it's just like, I love that movie. I seriously could watch that every day, and not get tired of it,
Yeah.
But that's my number one.
Yeah, I'm shocked.
Really?
I'm honestly shocked, because I thought for sure you were going to say Uncle Buck.
You know what?
Because you always say Uncle Buck's your favorite movie of all time.
Yeah.
It is a comedy. So I was convinced it was going to be number one.
I am shocked that it didn't even make the top 10.
Yeah, me too. That's what I'm saying. I am in disbelief over here, because I was going to bust your balls so bad on Uncle Buck. I've been saving up all my Dirty Dancing cachet for that, because here's a little tidbit for you, Kenny. I'm sorry, buddy. I'm not a fan.
Really?
I've never been a fan of Uncle Buck.
I
love John Candy,
Mhm.
and I love John Hughes some of the time. Okay, I like John Hughes' early movies, and I love Planes, Trains, and Automobiles. I think Planes, Trains, and Automobiles is just a wonderful film. Uncle Buck, for whatever reason, it never connected with me.
Wow. Okay.
And I have seen it more than once. I mean, I don't hate it, but I've never connected with that film. And I was holding on to that whole card for you.
No, that
and it didn't work.
Because if I think about it, it's like I think I've watched Animal House more than Uncle Buck, and I've told this story before when we first got Uncle Buck on DVD, it was somehow stuck in French.
Yeah, you were mentioning that on the last show.
And me and my brother sat and watched the damn thing, and my mom goes, "What are you two assholes watching?" And she looks at it, and she's like, "Why is he speaking French?" And Chris is like, "We can't get the damn." It was when remember when Blockbuster used to sell the DVDs?
Yeah,
we had just bought it, and it was like locked on there for some reason. So it was like we just sat and we watched it in French. So it was like
maybe if I watched it in French, I would have enjoyed it more. Who knows?
But really? That's still Uncle Buck's still my favorite movie of all time. But with the comedy, I've seen Animal House so many times, and that's just kind of
Fair enough.
That's my number one.
Okay, well, hopefully you like my number one and you don't try to get revenge. We're going back to Mel Brooks in 1974, Blazing Saddles.
Oh, nice.
Without a doubt, my favorite comedy of all time. And it wasn't always that way. That movie has grown for me every time I watched it. And I think why I love it so much now is because one of the first things I did during the pandemic when I discovered YouTube was watch people react to that movie. And it's one of the funniest damn things ever, watching young people watch Blazing Saddles. I mean,
oh man, I got to do that.
It is so funny. And what's really interesting, the black people that watch it tend to get it right away. They're shocked when they first hear, the N-word and such, but they get the joke right away. These younger white people that watch this movie, they don't get it at all until about 3/4 of the way through the movie.
That's really interesting. I never even thought about doing that.
Oh, it's hilarious. I'm telling you. Watching people react to Blazing Saddles is one of my favorite things to do online. It is just so hilarious. And again, it's got some of the best one-liners ever. One of the funniest jokes ever. Hey, boys, look what I have here. Hey, where are the white women at? I mean, that is like, or excuse me while I whip this out. I mean, it's just, Blazing Saddles is great. That's my number one.
That's a good one. See, I had brought up to Sean because we were talking about it, and I thought I seen on one of your videos that you weren't a fan of Blazing Saddles when you were doing your Western movies. So I'm glad I didn't say anything about it, because I was like, I almost came up to say, I said, weren't you divisive about one Mel Brooks movie? So, okay.
No. I just said that one wasn't included because to me it's not a Western.
Okay. Gotcha. Okay.
So,
that's what I heard.
It just happens to take place in the Old West until the third act, when you go break the 16th wall and go into a different movie set, Yeah,
because I even said that to Sean. Yeah, I said that.
People talk about Deadpool, Deadpool breaks the fourth wall so great. Mel Brooks invented that shit, Right. I mean, it was perfected way before Deadpool. And I love Deadpool, don't get me wrong.
Right.
But that fourth wall break in, at the end of Blazing Saddles, again, watching people react to this movie the first time, it comes out of nowhere and they don't know what the hell they're watching. It is just seeing the looks of confusion on their faces. It's great. You guys got to check that out. I'm telling you, it's hilarious.
Yeah, definitely got to do that. I didn't even think about doing that. I do that with music all the time. I love watching people react to music, but
yeah, me too.
Movies, I hadn't thought about doing that. That's awesome. That's a great pick. That's a movie that another movie that I watched when I was younger and probably shouldn't have. And and I haven't seen it many times since then, so I definitely have to rewatch it. I'm not as fresh on that one as I should be. But my number one is Airplane from 1980. That one, that was the first movie that I had seen that did what the Zucker brothers became famous doing, with basically taking another movie and remaking it and making it a complete comedy and a complete farce, and playing everything for laughs and twisting everything around and doing what they do best is parodying everything. And seeing Leslie Nielsen doing his shtick for the first time. And that was my first introduction to him as an actor, period. I didn't really know him as a serious actor. I was introduced to him as a comedian through that, and then I got to see all of his earlier work later. But just ridiculously funny. I have never seen the sequel, and I don't know that I will ever watch it because I've heard it's terrible. Yeah, I've heard it's terrible. But most of the Zucker brothers movies are at least funny, but none have really approached that other than the Naked Gun series. And I don't even know if all of them were involved with those.
They were the first one.
The first one, okay.
Yes. And then they kind of went separate ways.
Yeah, that's the best one by far.
Oh, yeah.
So that would make sense. But yeah, just, oh man, is that and I what is the movie that actually was the inspiration for Airplane? I should know that.
It's called 0 Hour or something.
0 Hour, yeah.
Yeah.
I watched that back to back with Airplane a couple of years ago.
Me too.
And it is unbelievable how much is taken nearly word for word from that movie.
Really? Oh yeah.
My God.
Oh yeah.
It's hilarious. It's literally almost taken word for word and scene for scene from that movie. And
most
at the time,
of the serious dialogue is definitely directed from that movie.
Yeah. I mean, not the whole movie, but a lot of the sequences are. And it just cracked me up. I watched 0 Hour first, and then I watched Airplane second. And I'd seen Airplane, hundreds of times, but I had never seen 0 Hour before. And it was back when 0 Hour was on Hulu and Airplane was on Hulu. So I just watched them back to back.
Yeah.
But that was hilarious. But Airplane, it's the gift that keeps on giving as far as comedy goes. I can watch that over and over and over. I could watch that movie every day and not get sick of it.
That's another one to watch people, or another fun one to watch people react to, because
I can imagine
the younger the crowd, the less they understand the jokes.
Oh yeah,
I mean, I'm not shitting you. The other day I watched somebody react to it, and the whole gag with you ever seen a grown man naked? You ever hang out around a Turkish prison? This girl actually goes, "Why is he asking these random questions?" And I'm like, "Oh my God, you are so." Yeah, it just went.
Right.
Same thing with the little boy sitting down with the coffee. Cream? No, I take it black, like my men. And then he gives her that look. And same thing. It just goes right over their heads. And it's like, are you kidding me? I was 12 when I saw that theatrically. And I got the joke then.
Right.
Right. I mean, yeah. Airplane's great. Airplane's great.
Yeah. It's one of those movies that just, that's one thing I didn't think about when I picked it, though, is I don't know, and I haven't really watched it with that frame of mind of like how well the jokes have aged or how well they've dated, because I get them because I remember them and the cultural references they came from. But I don't know that there's anything.
It still holds up. It still holds up quite well.
Okay.
It's just there's certain jokes, like Jim never has a second cup of coffee at home. That joke, they have no idea. Or even the old lady talking jive. Right. They don't get that reference whatsoever. Okay. But a lot of
don't know who the lady is.
Right. Okay.
Right.
Exactly. From Leaving the Beaver,
Right.
So a lot of those jokes don't really land, but the broad stuff definitely still.
Yeah.
The whole automatic pilot and all that shit, and Don't Call Me Shirley. I mean, that stuff still flies.
Right.
Because Carl Reiner was I watched an old interview, and he was talking about Mary Tyler Moore's show. And he said that's why when he did the show, he didn't add any cultural references.
Right.
He didn't add any of that because he said the jokes speak for themselves.
Yeah,
he goes, I don't. Yeah, and they're timeless. And he goes, I don't have to add, Justin Bieber, or I'm just adding saying Justin Bieber. And then like when you're watching it 30 or 40 years later, God help you on a rerun, kids that now, when we're done, they'll be going, who the hell's Justin Bieber?
Right.
You know what I mean? So it's like, I think that's why, because when you watch Dick Van Dyke Show or any of those sitcoms back there, they don't if you notice, they don't like put any cultural references from that time. They just let the joke, because they could just say,
few.
Yeah. I just thought that was like really intelligent and like very broad thinking, because today they'll just go for like, and here's Boys to Men. Like, I remember watching Martin, and now Boys to Men,
Right.
In Philly, we know them because they're a Philly act,
Right.
So, I mean, my nieces are 26. They don't know who the hell Justin Bieber, Boys to Men are.
Right.
They know them from around here because they're from Philly.
Right.
So,
yeah.
But I just thought that was very intelligent.
Yeah. As soon as you put any kind of touchstone like that has any kind of date reference or cultural reference like that, you're immediately putting an albatross around the neck of the movie, because if that's what your humor is based on, you're gonna tie it to whatever timeline it's from, and it's not going to make any sense going forward. And that's why I didn't think about that with Airplane, because I don't, like I was saying, I didn't think about it because it doesn't. I don't think there was anything really to think about overall.
No.
But like when we were talking about Revenge of the Nerds, I know that PC wise hasn't aged very well, just because it is
most of the movies on my list haven't aged well.
Oh no, and that's not.
That's the thing about comedy, though.
Right?
It's like anything, it's subjective. But I truly believe, as we've evolved, so to speak, people have just lost their senses of humor.
Yeah, I agree.
I mean, everybody takes everything so friggin' seriously and literally, and it's like, whatever happened to sticks and stones may break my bones, but words will never hurt me. It's a joke, Now, if you're offended by the joke, fine, don't watch it, but don't try to cancel it, and don't be afraid to make something that might offend somebody, because you're going to offend somebody no matter what you do. If you didn't, it's just going to be the most milquetoast, boring, vanilla stuff ever. And unfortunately, I think that's why we don't see a lot of comedies anymore. We just don't. I mean, look at our lists. They're all 20, 30, 40 years old, some of these movies. The newest movie that I originally had on my list from my Blu-ray collection before I included a couple of DVDs was Wedding Crashers. And that movie came out 10, 15 years ago now, at least.
Yeah, that came out, what, 2006, 7?
Somewhere around there, yeah. 2006, 2007, And
the latest movie I have is Best in Show, and that was 96.
Yeah, mine's 2008.
Yeah, which, again, was about the time that they stopped making those movies.
Yeah.
Superbad, Knocked Up, all the Judd Apatow movies, the Seth Rogen movies, those movies were all huge hits, and they were all funny. And then all at once, they just stopped making any kind of funny movie unless it's just this romantic, that Sydney Sweeney movie did pretty well. Anyone But You or whatever.
Yeah.
It's a rom-com, but that's about all they make now are rom-coms or children type directed comedic films. You know what I mean?
They don't even make good rom-coms, because now you have to have a mixed marriage, an interracial marriage.
Yeah, that's true.
If you just because it was funny, because I even said to my friend the other day, we're sitting in church. I say, you look at all the commercials, interracial marriage, summer same-sex marriage,
every commercial.
And it's just like, and it's funny because he's Indian and he's married to a white girl, you know? And he goes, I know what you mean. You know what I mean? Because I was saying to him, we were watching like the Verizon. He brings in and he goes, like, I'm watching one right now. White guy married to a Asian guy with like a Oriental kid and a black kid.
Yeah.
I'm all for inclusivity.
I
Everybody
am
should be
too.
represented.
Yeah.
But yeah, they've gone way overboard to where now it's everybody is that group. And it's like, no, that's not what you want to have. A couple of black people or a couple of Hispanic people or a couple of gay people or whatever. That's fine.
Right.
Or the occasional interracial couple, by all means, that's great too. But it's like, you're right. Every commercial, it's a black man, a white woman, white man, black girl, whatever. There's always some sort of,
But that's the way the world is. You're not going to get, because
again, it's marketing, and I understand that. Okay.
Right.
Yeah.
But that's advertising. Okay.
Right.
And I can get it when it comes to commercials because again, they're trying to sell something. Okay. A movie, on the other hand, unless you're cutting a trailer for it, okay, the movie's already made. You're not selling it at that point, So the problem I find is that I just think studios are afraid that they're going to release something that somebody will jump on Twitter and start bitching about.
Right.
Oh no, they're going to boycott our shit. That
Right.
sort of thing. And it's like, it makes me sad because again, you're talking about Revenge of the Nerds or Bachelor Party or Slapshot, these raunchy movies from the 80s. Okay. Yeah, they would never get made today. Okay.
No.
But they shouldn't be forgotten.
No.
You know what I mean?
Not.
And that's where I have a problem. Where they either cancel them completely or they got to throw a disclaimer on everything.
Right.
Trigger warning. There's
Yeah.
foul language in this, and they might reference a sexual act that might cause somebody some anguish. Give me a fucking break.
Right. Exactly.
All right.
Yeah.
I'm done.
I remember one of my honorable mentions, and it almost came in, and it was, I just picked it up, Mr. Mom. Remember the big boo-hoo about that? It was like, the father's running the household and the girl's going back to work again. But they have to remember, in the early 80s, people were losing their jobs.
Oh yeah.
Because the economy was so bad. I mean, my dad was a union worker at a paint factory.
Mhm.
Okay. And they used to have to ratify, and my dad's best friend, we call him Uncle Warren. He was the shop steward, and every 2 years, those guys had to ratify a new contract with the paint workers union.
Yep.
Okay, in order. So it was like I remember my dad just coming in and handing my mom going, union dues.
Yep.
Oh, we're going to a union meeting. So it was like you had to, and it's like when you watch movies like Mr. Mom and stuff like that, that was a period of time in, it might not happen now, but that was a set period in time where you had to watch your money and everything like that. So,
yeah, that was because I remember that time. There was another Michael Keaton movie that came out around that
Gung
time.
Ho.
What's that?
Gung Ho.
Yes. Gung Ho. That came out around that same time, appealed to that same type of audience, which was the middle class auto worker type.
The Japanese taking over.
Yeah, the Japanese taking over the factory and all that, and that's back when the unions were big, and the middle class was more powerful than it is today. All sorts of stuff. So there's all sorts of socioeconomic things that you can tie into the way things are and the way things were and all that. But things are just different, and it not necessarily for the better. It's kind of disturbing. And I politically I lean liberal, but I'm not disagreeing with anything you guys are saying about the inclusivity and all that stuff. It gets kind of like, okay, I'm all for the raunchy comedy,
right?
And like, I think I'm trying to think of the last few raunchy comedies that I've seen over the past decade, and the only two that I can think of is No Hard Feelings.
I was just going to bring that up. That
Jennifer Lawrence. Yep,
that's a good one, Jim. You should check that one.
Yeah,
out.
I haven't seen that one yet.
Okay,
that's a good one. And then there's another one. I think it's called Good Boys with a bunch of kids.
That movie's funnier than hell.
Yeah, that's a good
movie. Very funny.
That one's good. But those are the only two. that I can think of off the top of my head. And you used to be able, like, you could go to the theater every week and see a good raunchy comedy that would crack you up.
No, the last good raunchy comedy I saw technically wasn't a raunchy comedy. It was a superhero movie, and that was Deadpool and Wolverine.
Yes. Yeah.
Because that movie is raunchy as hell. Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, some of the jokes in that movie, I still can't believe they got away with. But again, because it's a superhero movie and because it's, that, they were able to get away with it. But if that was like a straightforward comedy, people would be losing their shit,
Oh,
I
yeah.
mean, but yeah, that movie, I got to admit, that movie was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
It was a lot of fun.
Absolutely. You'll get to see it somewhere around October, Kenny.
Oh,
I think that's when it's going to start streaming.
Yeah, that was my birthday movie this year. My sister took me to see it. I wanted to go see Alien, and she kind of talked me into seeing Deadpool instead, which was fine because, again, I loved it. I thought it was great.
Yeah. I completely forgot about that in terms of raunchy comedy because I'm thinking superhero movie, but you're absolutely right. It's definitely got raunchy comedy written all over it.
It's pretty damn funny though.
It is. I'm surprised. Yeah, it's definitely. It has to be the most raunchy, violent, goriest Disney movie ever made.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
And I don't think it'll ever be topped.
It's not even close. I think they broke that in the opening credits.
Yes, exactly.
I mean, that credit scene is just like, holy shit.
All right, since we got to our number one, what did you have for your honorable mentions?
All right. I have Mr. Mom.
Okay.
The Money Pit.
Good one.
I love The Money Pit.
With Tom Hanks. Stir Crazy.
Oh, good one.
Johnny Dangerously.
Mm-hmm.
You fargin' ice hole.
You fargin' ice holes. I like it. It was like when he's going, we've seen that in the movies, and that's another one. Me and my brother will go, you fargin' ice hole, like that.
And my brother, I always say, you miserable cork sucker.
Yeah.
I love the part where he's they're going down the street. And he's like, Johnny was spotted in a 1934 Buick painted blue. And then they go out and peel away.
Peel the decals out.
Like, yeah. And it's like striped color and it's like a different color. And I just always thought that. And my last one was Grumpy Old Men.
There you go.
Awesome.
They're like my go-to ones.
Okay. I only brought one physical up, but I will mention a couple other. But the physical one is Black Dynamite.
Nice.
Oh, okay.
Starring Michael Jai White. It spawned a animated series on Adult Swim, which is also very funny. But the movie is a absolute hysterical spoof of blaxploitation films, and it's got some of the funniest shit you will ever see in a movie. I'm telling you, you'll love it. Some other honorable mentions: War of the Roses.
Oh, good one.
Top Secret.
Yep.
Good one.
I love Top Secret. And the Kentucky Fried Movie.
Ooh,
I have not seen that.
That's a good one.
Catholic high school girls in trouble.
That's a good one. I haven't seen that in a long time.
That's John Landis's directed, and the Zaz Boys wrote it. And that was like their stepping stone. But yeah, Kentucky Fried Movie is one of the funniest damn things ever. So those would be my.
I gotta track that down. I have not seen that.
Shout Factory's got a Blu-ray really cheap.
Oh, they do?
Yeah, that's the one I've got. I got it like a year ago, and it was only like $15 then.
Okay,
so
good.
It's not out of print.
Okay, awesome. I will grab that. My honorable mentions were Planes, Trains, and Automobiles. I came to that one kind of late in the game. I had seen bits and pieces of it, but I never watched it from beginning to end until 2 years ago, believe it or not. And I've watched it 3 times since, and I really, really love it, but I just don't have the same level of appreciation that, comes over decades and decades of watching a movie, but absolutely fantastic movie. Austin Powers, International Man of Mystery.
Yes, that's a good one.
Mike Myers comedy sometimes gets old quick, but especially when people are doing bad impersonations of it every 5 seconds, when like they were when these movies came out, the Austin Powers movies came out. But I think that one holds up pretty well. The sequels, but the first one I enjoy a lot. There's another movie I went to and had no idea what it was, and nobody was in the theater when it came out.
Right.
There were like 4 other people in the theater when we saw that. And another one that's rising up is We're the Millers.
Oh yeah, that movie's funny as hell.
2013.
Yeah, that could be a raunchy one.
That's raunchy, and that's another one that's approaching Forgetting Sarah Marshall status. We'll watch that one all the time, and when it's on cable, and I got it on Blu-ray, and we'll watch it all the time. Just love it, hilarious. I don't know that the extended version is better than the theatrical version, though. I'll say that. I think the theatrical version is good enough. So there you go. That's my honorable mentions.
Nice.
Can I bring up another honorable mention I just
Sure.
thought of? Hollywood Shuffle, Robert Townsend.
Yes.
Good
That
movie.
movie is
Very good
absolutely hysterical. Me and my best friend went to see that at the Ritz 5 here in Philly because it was the only place that was playing.
Mm-hmm.
And my buddy had the Michael Jackson Jerry curl at the time.
Jerry curl, yeah.
The part where he goes, "Put down the activator, man. Put down the activator." Jimmy, I swear, and this is, God love him. He's passed by now. But when you would go to his house, remember when all the black people got up and the stain in the back of the back of the couch?
Yeah.
That's when you went to Jimmy's house. That's how it was. And
Nice.
I started laughing so hard, and Jimmy goes, "It looks like my living room," And I'm like, and I just started laughing. That part when he comes up and he, because Jimmy was worked at the post office. He was a supervisor at the post office. So when he goes, "Grandma always said there's a job at the post office," and he just started laughing. But that whole thing was like when he comes and does the slave part, and he goes, "Miss, I said everything," and cut. "Hello, my name's Robert Townsend." I fall on the floor, and the part that me and my brother still recite because Jimmy would always bring this up was "Winky Dinky Dog." Sing it with me, "Winky Dinky Dog."
God, I haven't seen that movie in years.
Yeah, that brings back memories. That was an HBO
That's a really good one.
That could have been. See, I had like 3 bubbling for number 10, but it was like I didn't see Hollywood Shuffle as much as I did see Best in Show.
Right.
Because that was available so much on cable, where Hollywood Shuffle was never on. And I think that just came on Criterion, so I might have to get that next sale.
That's on Criterion?
Yeah, Hollywood Shuffle.
No shit.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
I'm not
awesome.
paying $50, but I paid $25 for it when it came.
Yeah, when there's
off.
a 50% off sale, I'll definitely grab that, because that one I don't have, and I love that movie. That was, you said you didn't see it on cable very much. I saw it on HBO. It was always on.
Yeah, that's where I saw it. Was on HBO.
Yeah, always.
Yeah, I had the DVD of it for a while, and then I gave it to Jimmy, and when he passed away, I never got it back. So I literally don't have a physical copy of it, but whenever I see it or something on, I always would watch it.
Yeah, Robert Townsend was great. He was such a hilarious man. Did you ever see his stand-up?
Yes.
I have not.
He had a bit on the Rodney Dangerfield Young Comedian special. It was the same one that Sam Kinison was on.
Yeah.
And he comes
Harry
out.
Anderson was on that too, I think.
Yeah. And he comes out and he starts speaking in this, that accent that you were just doing. "Hello, I am Robert Townsend." But he's like, my children come up to me and they say, Father, tell us about welfare, Father. Did you have to eat the government cheese, Father? It was one of the funniest goddamn things ever.
Yeah.
That guy was brilliant.
Oh, man. All right. Well, we're getting about that time, and it is time for movie recommendation time. And Jim, I hope you have one. And if you don't, now's your time to prepare.
I don't have a physical one, but I'll mention another comedy from my from my shelf that we're back to the raunchy stuff, and this is a relatively new comedy. I think it came out within the last 10 years. Don't know if you guys have ever seen it. It's called The Brothers Grimsby.
I've never seen that.
Nope.
It's got Sacha Baron Cohen in it, Borat himself, and the movie was a huge flop at the time. It's become kind of relevant recently because Rebel Wilson wrote a book saying that she was sexually harassed on a movie, and that's the movie that she's talking about. Okay?
Oh, wow.
Don't think about that if you watch the movie, okay? This movie is childish. It is sophomoric. It is disgusting, okay? I mean, there's a sequence in this movie that is one of the most disgusting things I've ever seen in my life. My 80-year-old mother watched this movie when it first came out on video. I rented it. She loves this movie.
Really?
She thinks it's funny as hell. It is, like I said, check your brain at the door. If you're easily offended, don't even turn it on. Okay? Yeah. But I'm telling you, if you don't mind gross humor, that movie's funny as hell.
Okay.
So, The Brothers Grimsby. I believe it's from 2008, somewhere around there.
Yeah, I just looked it up. It's not streaming anywhere, unfortunately. 2016, Jim.
Oh shit!
Oh, wow.
Okay, so that's true because that was right around the time that Trump took office. Because there's a great Trump joke.
Oh, okay.
There is a great Trump / Harry Potter joke in that movie.
Cool. Cool.
All right, Kenny. We're gonna put you on the spotlight. It is time for your movie of the week.
Yes, this is available on Tubi for everybody to see. It's a 1980 classic. People always poo-poo this movie, but I think it's great, and it's called The Jazz Singer with Neil Diamond. Absolutely the best soundtrack, next to probably I'd put it in third next to Grease and Saturday Night Fever. But I love this movie. I think if it played on TV, because they were like really, getting a lot of acclaim for the Barbra Streisand and Neil Diamond, You Don't Bring Me Flowers thing. And Neil Diamond was like really red hot at that time. So I think if they put this on like CBS, like a CBS Sunday night movie, I think it would have done better. It did poorly in the movies. Neil Diamond was like very wooden in the character. But if that last scene when he does America doesn't give you goosebumps at the end, I think you're a dead man. So available on Tubi, and I love the movie. And one of my favorite Neil Diamond song, "Love on the Rocks," is on it. I just love it, and it used to be always on HBO or Prism here in Philly, and I always watched it every time it was on. That was one of my mom's favorite movies too. So we would sit and just watch it. So Jazz Singer.
All right.
1980.
Very good. All right, I've got mine, and I had mentioned earlier that mine was going to be part of my tribute to James Earl Jones, and I've mentioned it on my channel before, and it is the UFO incident with James Earl Jones and Estelle Parsons, and it is a dramatization. It was actually a TV movie, but it's a dramatization of the Betty and Barney Hill incident, where they claimed to be abducted by aliens, I believe in 1961. But the movie is kind of more than just the dramatization of that. It kind of gets into some racial stuff because they were biracial couple, or interracial couple, I should say. And James Earl Jones just delivers a stellar performance in it. It's like a tour de force for him. Estelle Parsons, she's kind of, I don't want to say off the wall. She's if you've seen her in Bonnie and Clyde, she's kind of a acquired taste, I guess. She's probably my least favorite thing in this movie, but her relationship with James Earl Jones in this movie, though, is something that you can definitely understand why they play off each other very well, but they're just not, or she's just not my favorite part of the movie. But James Earl Jones is definitely worth seeing. The effects are kind of cheap. It definitely looks like a TV movie of the week, but it's definitely worth seeing just for James Earl Jones, if for nothing else. So that would be my movie recommendation for this week. And rest in peace, Mr. James Earl Jones.
Absolutely.
And that movie is on YouTube.
Yes, it is. I did want to mention that too. That one thing that we're doing on the channel. Now we broadcast this on the Movie Assault YouTube channel, and there's also a Talking Movies with Sean and Kenny YouTube channel. On the Talking Movies with Sean and Kenny YouTube channel, there is playlists. There are 2 playlists, one for my picks, my movie recommendations, and one for Kenny's picks, where I put the trailers for our picks. So if you want to learn a little bit more about the picks, you can see a little bit more about it. I couldn't find a trailer for the UFO incident, so I'm just going to link to the entire movie on my playlist. So it's available on YouTube, so you'll be able to watch it on there. But I did find a trailer for the Jazz Singer for Kenny's.
Cool.
Hey, real quick, did you guys happen to check out Deep Rising?
I did not yet.
I didn't either.
Okay, I was just wondering. I want to know what you guys thought about that when you do.
Yeah, I definitely want to watch that. I will definitely be having more time to watch movies over the next few months, so I will definitely be checking it out.
Awesome.
But I have not yet. I'm sold already by the.
Oh, I am too. I am too. I actually forgot about it because I've been so into watching the Newsroom, and there was a couple other ones my niece gave me to watch. So I've been like infatuated with that, and like those shows just kind of incorporate your mind. you know, you're thinking so much about them. So
right.
Awesome. And Mr. Dan weighs in on the UFO incident. He said it's pretty good. Yeah, it's not just about UFO abduction. It has some racial commentary, and it's just about the interracial stuff. And it's a lot more progressive than you would think for a 1975 TV movie. So it's pretty interesting.
Yeah, I'm going to look into it.
Yeah, it's available on YouTube. But if you really want to pay a premium, it also is available from Kino Lorber on Blu-ray.
Cool.
So
I love Kino.
Yeah. So we have reached the 2-hour mark, and that is the end of the show. So, Jim, I definitely want to thank you for coming on again and participating. It's an excellent show.
Thank you guys so much for having me. I really appreciate it. I always enjoyed spending time with you guys, even when you are giving me shit about Dirty Dancing.
Hey, there was not one joke during this 2-hour extravaganza.
No. Yeah. Now, if you would have mentioned the Jazz Singer 2 hours ago, oh, buddy, I would have been at you for the last 2 hours.
I know he's not a fan. He likes the soundtrack, but he's not a fan of the movie. But I absolutely see. I'd watch your videos, pal. So it's like
great soundtrack. Great soundtrack.
I just I'm still in content. It's sort of like if you ever seen Pure Country with George Strait.
Yeah, I've never seen it because I'm not a country guy. So
okay, yeah. But even if you didn't like, if you don't like country, it has a really good story to it.
Yeah,
because I think he was kind of playing off of the Garth Brooks experience, because Garth Brooks was like that's where I kind of think he was going, because he was doing. Because remember when Garth Brooks changed his name to Chris Gaines?
Oh yeah,
for like no reason.
Yeah.
Well, he was. I'll say his name, Narvel. Okay, and then all of a sudden he turned into Dusty. You know, and he's playing in Vegas and doing these big shows, you know, where he's got like short hair and Dusty had a ponytail, you know, but it's actually a good movie if you watch it, and the soundtrack's just absolutely extraordinary, you know.
Very good.
But
all right, we'll check it out.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Thanks again. Thanks for a good show.
So much
Thanks
for having me, guys.
Chat. Everybody on replay. Hope you guys enjoyed the show. And we will see you in 2 weeks for our next show. So
have a great night, everybody.
Take care, guys.
Take care, guys.
Bye-bye.
Bye.